Joining us right now is former Nebraska Senator and 9/11 Commission member Bob Kerrey. Senator, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Nice
well, anybody who's traveled these roads in our airports, I guess, has seen that. But what do you make of this study? It's bad.
Well, it'd be $4.5 trillion well spent. I mean, even a bridge to nowhere employs people. I mean, there's no question it would add to productivity and add to and strengthen the economy. And it'd be money well spent if we could somehow figure out how to do it. That's for sure.
How do we do it, though? I mean, we keep facing this question, whether it's Obamacare and subsidies or the tax plan and a border adjustment tax, to come up with ways to pay for all of this.
I think governance matters. I think you got to set it up so people have confidence that the money's going to be well spent, that it's not going to get sort of wrapped up into pork barrel spending. I think you could do that. I think you're probably going to need a safe harbor so these things can get built faster. Because oftentimes you find yourself up with 404 permitting. That's the Corps of Engineers permitting process. You've got to figure out some way to give the American people confidence it's going to be money well spent, that it is going to create jobs, that it is going to strengthen the economy, and that it can be built relatively rapidly. I mean, it's a problem. I'm not sure we could build the interstate highway system. We darn sure couldn't build the Erie Canal. So you've got to get this thing set up so that it can actually go as quickly as possible to really creating not just jobs, but confidence in American people that it will stimulate and grow the economy.
And some of the idea, at least, to pay for the $1 trillion, because President Trump doesn't want for the government to spend taxpayer money of $1 trillion, but is for revenue sharing in some projects, with say toll roads, that private contractors,
look,
private owners.
Money is money. You only separate government money and private money for ideological reasons. So you're going to have to pull it out of the economy one way or the other.
Well, that's a fair point, but the reason that infrastructure is crumbling, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, is because individuals want their roads and bridges fixed, but they don't want to pay for it. They don't want to pay higher gas taxes. That's why the gas tax hasn't gone up in more than 20 years.
That's true. That's true, although most taxpayers, when they understand that they're paying a gas tax for their roads, at least it's a user fee. They feel like they're getting something for it. I think the larger question is, can I get confident that the money's not going to get spent on boondoggle projects and that sort of thing? Do I have a governing board of people who are really smart, who are evaluating what needs to be done, what are the highest priorities, and then to make sure that they can be quickly, you need some sort of safe harbor environmental expediting process so these things can be done quickly. There's no question that it would strengthen the economy done correctly.
Senator, would there be some way to get a group of civil engineers or whoever it would be together and just have them make the decision and then put it to Congress for an up or down vote, rather than letting 100 senators all get their own pork barrel spending in there and suddenly, as you say, you got a boondoggle?
I'm not sure that's going to work, because I don't think it's an up or down vote issue. I think it's a 10-year process, a 20-year process. It's not like it's a one-year deal. One of the problems we had with the stimulus bill in 2009 was that they said, well, I have shovel-ready projects. Well, what you needed was multi-year funding confidence, and that's a 10-year, 20-year process.
And the money was, in many instances, was allocated to states and regions that didn't need infrastructure spending. There were areas in Connecticut where the roads got repaved that didn't need it, where there were stoplights put in that they didn't need them, and that means that another area wasn't getting necessary money.
Right. There'll always be a little of that, but I mean, whether it's civil engineers, I mean, you just need a governing board of people that are really looking at where's the need, what will produce the greatest economic benefit, what's best for our communities. I mean, this is not a difficult planning process, and the $4 trillion doesn't get spent in 1 year. It's probably a 10-year, 20-year effort. So, but I'm just say it again, there's no question done correctly, this would strengthen the American economy.
Senator, what about having something like a National Infrastructure Development Bank, some orchestrating body that would come together and say, we're going to take the best ideas of the civil engineers, we're going to take the best ideas, because this is something both Democrats and Republicans agree about. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's a good idea. I think that the selling point has to be, are you glad that your father's generation built the interstate highway? Do you think that the Erie Canal did something good? And the Erie Canal was controversial. Not a single member of the New York City delegation in Albany voted for the Erie Canal. So these things get controversial in the moment. I think it's a good idea to create some kind of banking process so you can get some leveraging activity, so it's financed in a smart way.
It's not a priority for the administration over the near term. Let's just, I mean, they got this failing grade, but Stephen Mnuchin and company have been very clear. Obamacare, tax reform in 2017, and then they'll consider infrastructure. I mean, it's there, it's on the agenda, but I want to switch gears, Senator. I got to get your take over this Russia story, because the fallout over General Michael Flynn's communications with Russia taking a new turn this morning. So the former national security advisor admitting to being a foreign agent after getting paid for lobbying work that may have benefited the Turkish government. Yeah. The Trump administration distancing itself from the controversy. Watch this. We want your reaction.
Hearing that story today was the first I heard of it. And I fully support the decision that President Trump made to ask for General Flynn's resignation. I think it is an affirmation of the President's decision to ask General Flynn to resign.
This is what he did for a living. He was a private citizen at the time. There's nothing nefarious about doing anything that's legal as long as the proper paperwork is filed.
What do you make of this? How should we see this?
Well, it's a question of is it legal or not. Clearly it's legal. The question is, can you be the national security advisor if you've been representing a foreign government, in this case Turkey? And I think the answer is no. And he should have told the president.
So
it's not like you want me to do something. I know what I've been doing. I know whether or not that disqualifies me.
Got to be up front.
No, he should have known it was a disqualifying thing that he was doing.
If he hadn't been kicked to the curb, so to speak, for lying to Vice President Pence, he'd be out the door because of this.
Well, he should have. Yeah, he should. He should.
If he wasn't already gone, this would send him packing.
All of us have a little bit of self-delusion going on in our lives, and I think this guy had a little bit more than most of us. And he should have been able to recognize that if he's representing Turkey, if he's actually registered and that's another question. Did he register? Regardless, if he's representing Turkey, he can't be a national security advisor.
What's